Grandma telling little Claude Robert about animals who never changed their gender, and mankind saying they can. Claude Robert, you smell like you come up from that stockyard. Has you been down there this morning? Said Claude Robert's grandmother to him. Yes, ma'am. Little Claude Robert replied to his grandmother's question, and then went on to say, yes, ma'am, I was down there looking at all the live animals, the big ones and the little ones. My mother told me to get out of the house and go someplace else. So I went down there. They chased me away for hanging around too long. So I came down here to see you, to be with you, Grandma. You must have been there and stepping in something too, for you sure smell ripe with something. With manure. This said little Claude Robert's grandmother. She also said, let's me and you sit out on the porch so that odor don't get to the food. Your granddaddy, his supper's on the stove, and I don't want that to turn it bad. You understand, boy? Little Claude Robert's grandma looked at him and said, no, ma'am, I don't understand, Grandma. His grandma, being a very wise woman, chose to say no more to Claude Robert about his odor and his grandpa's food, and spoke of other things. So she said, Claude Robert, when you be down there at the stockyard with all them animals, does you pay attention to the difference in them? That there be some males and there be some females. Do you do that? Yes, grandmother. I do notice the difference in them. I can tell it because I can see it in the big animals. But I'm not sure when I look at the younger little ones. Oh, I do pay attention, Grandma. I do. Why did you ask me that, Grandma? Why did you ask me that? Said little Claude Robert. His grandmother responded, I asked you that because I've been wanting to tell you something, and I want to teach you something about that what you sees and what it means for you. That be why I asked you my question, said his grandmother, going on to say, little fella, you knows that you be a boy, don't you? And that you done been one ever since you been born. You know that, don't you? There she stopped to hear Claude Robert's answer. He did, laughing lightly at his grandmother's question. It felt funny on his ears. He said, yes, grandmother, I know that I am a boy, which is one who will grow up to be a man, and that I was a boy when I was born. I do know that, grandmother. Doesn't everybody know what they are when they are born, and that they stay the same? Don't everybody know that, Grandma, don't they? Then he waited for his grandmothers to speak. They practiced courtesy in speech, these two. Most folks do, little fella. Most folks do. When I was a young girl, but nowadays it seems that most folks don't. It be like that man's daughter. That man who lived up there in Washington, D.C., in the Blair House. That be for the vice president and his family. It be done paid for by the peoples so that they can stay where. And she said that she don't be a girl no more. That she done gave that up and that she be like a man's. No, I know that can't be done, but a whole lot of women's and men's too, say that they don't be what they was when they was born. Not no more. Her daddy say that'd be all right with him, that she should know what she be, and nobody should tell her that she be wrong. Not in this matter. He said that. And the Supreme Court and Congress folk talked and say that they can do that. But worse than that is that all folks agrees with them, and it be wrong. It don't be right. God don't like it. 'Cause like he did with them animals, he done with man. The animals, they still do what the Lord say do. And it be man that say God be wrong. I don't. And I'm tells 'em where I cans. But I wants to be sure that you knows that animals don't change. And their gender and neither commands no woman's. Don't you let nobody change your mind about what you know. You hear? Do you hear me, little boy? If it be the president, don't you believe that, you hear? Little Claude Robert thought a long time about what his grandmother had said to him. Also of what he had heard on the radio and seen on TV. 4 boys had beaten up another boy, killing him and burying his body. They killed him because he was a boy pretending to be a girl looking for sex. Then it was exposed. He wasn't a girl. This made the boys angry, and they did what they did, which they should not have done. They killed the person. It started, however, with the persons presenting themselves as something that they were not. They tempted the forelusted back at the falsity of the lusting pretender. It cost the pretender his life. All these thoughts rushed into his mind before he spoke. Then he did answer his grandmother, saying, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, Grandma. I hear you. I will not allow myself to believe that, even if the president says so, for it would not be true." His grandma smiled at him and said, "I show glad that you thinks for you speaks. And I's pleased with what you say after you done thinks. Now go away. That odor be strong, and it's going to smell up the whole house." "Yes, ma'am. Yes, Grandma. I'll go home now." "Bye, Grandma. Bye, Grandma," said little Claude Robert, carrying his stockyard sneaking self home.